Ladies and gentlemen, from the Microsoft Theater here in downtown Los Angeles.
Hey, yo, I see you, man.
Brought to you by Shawn Porter Promotions.
Hey, yo, Shawn Porter, hold tight. We coming out there.
Live from Los Angeles.
Hey, yo, put your headphones on, man.
It's time for the main event of the
Here it is.
evening.
I be the one with the rollie on. Tom Ford with it. Praise the Lord for the team because we out to get it. Took a flight back home.
Yeah, no, the beat's all right. Yeah.
Beats rock.
I'm tripping.
Shout out to my man Ace Boogie. He did the intro music for us. We'll bring him in eventually and do some fun stuff with him. Old school hip hop artist from back home, Akron, Ohio. Shout out to Akron, Ohio. Always. I'm shouting out stuff today.
I like that.
Now, we ain't starting that off today. We're not starting off that. Let's talk about Las Vegas.
I have a.
No, we're not doing that today.
Do you have?
This isn't an.
Akron,
I need a Las Vegas
related.
sidekick.
This isn't Akron, Ohio related. I have a question for both of you. It's very random. Do you have anything bamboo related?
Bamboo.
Like bamboo sheets, bamboo
No.
socks?
No.
Nobody. Okay. Fair enough. I'm on an island. That's fine.
When you say bamboo, I think of China.
Me too. I
So
think
they
of a
have-
little
so-
panda.
Yeah.
So I think the first one I had was like they have a pillow that's bamboo and it's supposed to stay cool. Especially out here, you need it to stay cool. And so I was like, okay, it worked. Cool. I ended up getting bamboo sheets. Bamboo sheets also keep you cool.
This man got money.
No, they actually weren't that
No,
expensive.
no. Don't try
But
to play.
if
I
anyone
have
has
no
bamboo
clue
stuff,
what's
send it
going
to
on
me.
right
Me
now.
either. Just keep going.
I faded
But
out.
no,
and
it's
then I'm
all
back.
the bamboo stuff keeps you cool. My bamboo socks aren't.
Those
right
bimp,
now.
those bimp, let me feel those.
They feel like normal socks, but they keep you cool.
So is this a new fad?
No, I don't think so. I just like to be
No,
cool.
I
I
don't
run
know about that. I don't know
hot.
about those.
You run hot.
Yeah. So I feel like I run hot. I need something that keeps me cool. And bamboo so far has been one of the things in multiple aspects of my life that has kept me cool.
No, he's just like a little panda.
I ask you this, and then we'll move forward. But are you familiar with meat sweats?
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Andy was talking about that.
Yeah, that's some
You're not
childish stuff.
familiar? I think the only time I've legitimately had meat sweats was at a Korean barbecue. And you know how those go down. They just keep bringing food out and just it keeps getting cooked. And afterwards I was like, I'm not sure I can like move from this seat. And I'm not sure if I'll ever move again. Like I thought that might have been it. Like you can just feel your body there's just so much.
I'm still like, what are you talking about? I
it,
never.
But I didn't like question it when somebody said it.
I did.
I heard him.
I was like, what do you?
So what did he say?
He basically go ahead, Carson.
Anybody else like
Basically,
comment in the YouTube?
where you
what's
start
meat sweats?
It's not just I guess
if you eat a lot, I'm sure because meat is
because I don't know if it's the whole dinner or if it's the meat specifically.
Well, I think
that you
speci-
start
I
to
think
Where's the
sweat.
sweat coming from?
your pores. What do you mean? Where the
No, I'm
where's the
saying,
sweat
like-
coming from?
Too much? You hate too much meat? Or like
That's the
I'm
thing.
sure.
Like,
I'm
like,
sure there's a scientific and medical explanation for it. That hopefully there's a doctor watching.
oh, I thought this was like
They
some
can
backyard
explain.
home.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I know.
Oh,
I know
okay,
it from my
okay.
personal
Okay,
experience.
okay.
Like if you eat, like I said, Korean barbecue, and you just feel like hot and you just start to sweat. I don't know. But again, that's my personal experience. I'm sure there's a medical explanation for it, but
Can somebody give Shawn a breakdown in
I
YouTube
s-
comments
I said
on
to
meat
these-
sweats?
I said to these fellas, hey, when we come on, let's just a little bit of small talk and then
That was small talk.
God
it's the
damn.
definition of small talk.
Damn.
So
That's
you got to
the
get
small
you.
talk.
We're gonna get you some socks.
That's the small talk
bamboo
we got.
Hey, give
today.
me a panda pillow. Is it a panda? Oh, why I keep saying
Bamboo.
panda?
Shout out to the designer.
Bamboo.
Yeah,
Okay.
bamboo though keeps you cool.
Listen, we made an announcement last week. I'm gonna take full responsibility for it. First of all, because I'm the contact,
And technically, you made the announcement.
these guys can't even be the contact.
Hey,
but,
no, man, Dane was chopping it up last night on Twitter.
True.
Oh, straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude is in Cabo watching fights, man.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
and we chopped it up last night too.
We get it here on vacation.
Dane won't be able to be on the show tonight. He's on vacation.
Damian Lillard.
I'm not gonna
We didn't
say-
clarify that.
Yeah, Damian Lillard. I'm not gonna say where exactly, but he's on vacation, and we had a little bit of spotty communication up until last night, and then last night we just talked boxing, and I said, "Hey, you coming on the show tomorrow?" He says, "I'm on vacation." I said, don't trip. We'll do it another time. So I'm going to take responsibility for being this. Here's the thing. I am an athlete, and I am just someone who loves to have fun with the cameras, with the audio and things like that. And that's basically how this podcast got started from my standpoint. And these guys have done other podcasts and things like that. So they've got experience, and these are some of my best friends, which is why I asked them to come on. But when it came to Dame, I asked him to get on the show. I told him that I loved the tweet that he had tweeted out, some of his picks. We'll talk about them in a little bit. And he said, all right, but we kind of left it at that. It was just the general small talk, boy to boy, athlete to athlete, and it really didn't go further. And the professional side of me didn't understand, like, hey, make sure you set this up, make sure he understands and he's fully aware that he's got to be here, do that, so on and so forth. And he's on vacation. I said, man, don't even worry about it. Don't trip. We'll get to it. So
you can talk trash to him on Twitter right now about boxing.
And it's crazy because he will respond.
Yeah.
He was going crazy.
I didn't think he was going to respond to me last night. He will respond.
And I thought I was like breaking news. When I was announcing that he was going to be on the show this week, I thought it was breaking news that I'm telling, like, hey, he's a big boxing fan. I can't wait to show y'all how big of a boxing fan he is. I'm sure if you on Twitter and you follow Dame, you know how big a boxing fan he is. Yeah. Again, he's on vacation and he's watching the fights, the small fights and the big fights.
Yeah.
And then we were texting last night, and he says, man, I'm hooked on it. He said, I even watch the stupid shit because I need to know what's going on. Yeah. And I laughed and I said, well, hey, our show's a little bit different, and we got some other perspectives that we're gonna bring that I think are fresh to the sport of boxing specifically, because I don't think anyone else can do what we're doing from the boxing perspective of having a active and fighter that can really translate what goes on in the ring
and
before the fight.
Elite fighter, not just like an active random guy.
Whatever, all that,
He ain't
so
no
so
Floyd.
True.
He ain't no Floyd.
So on and so forth. But let's move forward. We already agreed that we weren't going to stay on that too long, but I did want to let everybody know that I communicated with him, but I didn't do it professionally. I think the way Fox would have did it, or anybody else, you know what I mean? So
it'll happen.
We live and we learn.
One more thing, the learning experience for me specifically was, hey, like, you're in a different arena now. Yeah. Like, now you are the analyst. Now you are the guy who has to deliver the news. You're not just gonna come on and talk anymore, you know. So I did learn that, and that was that grew me up real quick, because moving forward, things will be much tighter, as we said right before we started the show. But let's move forward. What I wanted to talk to Dame about today, which we'll just get right into, is he made some picks for some big fights coming up. And so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to analyze them a little bit, go through them. And where y'all want to start? We can start with something hot. We can work our way up.
Let's work our way up.
Let's start cool, like my bamboo socks.
Start cool.
This guy.
Because we already talked Jermell Charlo versus Jason Rosario, and we already talked Jamal versus Devinchenko. But and we're gonna come back to that next week, because that fight's happening next week.
True.
Next week's a big weekend though, because we already talked about the pay-per-view, but the one fight that I saw in there that I'm interested outside of the big fight is Luis Nery. Have you guys seen Luis Nery? Dude can punch.
Yeah.
And he's big for his weight class. So the first time I saw him was, I believe, was when Errol Spence Jr. fought Mikey Garcia. That was his first pay-per-view, his first fight in the United States. And so for me, it was a lot of talk, and this is who we're going to talk about. But I saw him live in action. I'm like, okay, yeah, this dude can punch hard.
Yeah.
And then I saw him again, Pacquiao versus Thurman, and it was the same thing. So we got a young dude here who is a champion, and he is making noise on pay-per-view, and he's young, So I think for me, outside of the big fights, that's the fight that I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to seeing, is he that consistent heavy hitter that I've seen in the past, and how long is it gonna last this time?
And that is we kind of talked about it last week, but that event you mentioned, it's a big weekend. that's a whole event.
Yeah.
On Saturday.
Yeah.
Like
That's a night for Damian Lillard.
Yeah. You literally have. So we said it starts at 4 p.m. our time, Pacific time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's gonna go hours.
Yeah.
That's gonna go into the evening
Yeah.
here. So that's one where. Do you have like a late lunch and then have a dinner later on? I mean, I'm just trying to think of the meal planning.
Meat
there.
sweats and all.
Hey,
You gonna go through that twice?
Yeah.
Hey, Carson, if you're not doing nothing, can you pull up to Shawn Porter's house? It's not open. Oh,
No.
that was open invitation.
What did I tell you? I said, I'm getting the fight. Come through. Wear your mask. But if they call me and ask me to come do the fight, I'm gone.
Yeah.
Y'all can still come over, but I'm gone. You know, so I'm itching to get back in there and do some commentating and the more analytical stuff that I've done in the past. But
and even I was gonna say fight wise, we could even go back to last night. Next week is a big fight weekend. Yesterday.
Oh
Saturday,
yeah.
There were some good fights. And some interesting storylines pivoting off of those fights. So more than the fights might have been interesting. But like Boots Ennis fights.
Yeah.
His opponent had never been stopped.
Mm-hmm.
He stopped him, which is always nice.
First time I actually watched that guy.
Yeah.
Talented.
Yeah. And that's my thing is a lot of the public are just now starting to find out who Jaron Ennis is. And when I turned pro actually with his brother. I think his brother, when I had my debut, his brother might have had 3 fights, and we fought on about 6 or 7 cards together.
Oh, nice.
So I learned who the Ennis family was. I know all about the family and the whole nine. And so we move out here to Vegas. Golden Gloves, National Golden Gloves are out here. We go to the tournament. Boom, we run into Jaron's dad. Oh, what you doing here? How your boys doing? Yada, yada, yada. I got another one coming up. And at that time, he was only 17, 18. But you could see the flash. You could see the speed. One thing y'all don't know, which is pulled down. Let me do that one more time. One thing y'all don't know is, again, I have the perspective of doing this for so long that I'll be able to tell y'all what's going on and where it's coming from. Philly has their own style of boxing. Cleveland has their own style of boxing. Northeast Ohio, Cincinnati, New York, LA, we all have a different style of boxing. So when you talk about a classic Philly fighter, the classic Philly fighter has that razzle-dazzle, that speed, that quickness, and also that ferocious killer instinct. Yeah. That's what Philly got, and that's what Jaron Ennis got.
He throw heaters.
Yeah, he throw heaters. He throws with intention. He got speed behind it. He's got the reflexes, the quickness. For me, he's the real deal.
Yeah.
And if you see him before he gets in the ring, he's got on he's always spot on with his wardrobe. That's Philly. You know what I mean? So for me, coming from where I come from, when I see him coming to the ring, I'm already smiling. I'm like, that's Philly right there. And then for me, when he gets in the ring and he starts to do his thing, I'm smiling. I'm like, that's Philly right there. And it makes me proud because not only am I proud of Jaron Ennis, but I'm also proud of him really representing where he comes from.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people know that out there. They just know good fighters, and you might know where the good fighters from, but you don't understand. Like, look at Texas, for instance. You got Errol Spence Jr. You got the Charlo brothers. Let's just talk about them 3 guys right there. Yep. They all are hard hitters.
Dogs.
They all are aggressive. They all are dogs, and they all like to talk some stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what you got in Texas, all through Houston, Dallas. That's what comes from Texas, you know.
He's
so
Texas.
That's what you can expect. And I think that's why, in a lot of ways, that's why Errol Spence Jr. was able to really make the noise that he made at the early point in his career, was because not only was he a southpaw who was aggressive, you just don't see that as an amateur or as a professional. And then he came out here and he sparred with Mayweather. That also gave him a lot of pub. But the fact that he's a dog and you don't know that it derives from where he comes from, but that's what it is.
And that is exactly what I wanted to bring up as far as where Errol was is kind of where Boots Ennis is now.
Yeah.
where Errol was that guy. And again, he always brings it up when he was like 16-0, 15-0, kind of in that range. He was calling you out. He was calling Keith out. Yeah. He was calling Danny out. Yeah. He was calling all those guys out. Yeah. And Boots Ennis doesn't seem to be that like aggressive with that calling out yet. Mm-hmm. But he's done interviews and he said he wants to fight. Yeah, he's like, I want to fight any of those top guys. Yep. So, and it's good to see. We've mentioned it before, but it's good to see those young guys that are like, yeah, I'm ready to fight those guys now. As somebody who is in that category, do you think he's not only ready for that step up, or is it maybe where you in your mind you think you can get there? But
honestly, for me, it goes back to our conversation last week about having to grow up in the ring and go through some things in a live fight. It can happen in training. You can be that type of fighter that just trains very hard and you put yourself through intense sparring and things like that, and that can help you grow up very quickly. I think a lot of that he's already gotten. I mean, he's come a long way at a young age, but also if you take a look at his lineage, having two older brothers who are professionals, his dad training not only him but his brothers as well, it's almost like for the dad, it's almost like the third time's the charm. Yeah. Because I've had all the experiences for myself as not only a trainer but as a manager to my sons, and now I'm bringing the young one up, and now I know basically all the rights and wrongs to do. Yeah. And now I just have to make sure my son goes through all the rights and none of the wrongs. So I think in a lot of ways he's been through it, but I do think that there's some live action things that he's got to go through. Just a hard fight, a fight of somebody not allowing him to have his way round by round, allowing him to set up the things that he likes to set up, not allowing him to load up the way he likes to load up. And again, I mean, I don't see very many holes in his game.
Is there a name that comes to mind when you mention that? Or not even a name, but like a model of a fighter where, so from where he's at now to you, to Errol, to Keith, to Bud, is there somewhere...
Oh, like who he could fight?
You had a perfect example. Your fights with Julio Diaz. Mm-hmm. That was... You were this promising prospect. Yeah. You were going to get there. Yeah, yeah. But you had to go through Julio Diaz, who was not just going to...
Who's the gatekeeper at this point, you know? And then who's the gatekeeper who's willing to get in the ring, knowing that, you know, hey, I'm not expected to win this. I'm not who I used to be. You know, this is a young lion, and I just gotta, you know, I gotta deal with it. There's really not too many guys in the boxing game now who are willing to do that.
What about a guy like Berto?
Berto's name did just come to mind. The other one was Adrian Browner. Yeah. And also Robert Easter Jr. Not that he's a gatekeeper, but I think he's been in enough.
He's also a light though.
He's 140, right?
Yeah, he 140.
Yeah. Hey, 135. But don't you want to see him against a true welterweight though? Like for that live action?
Like a Lopez? Osito Lopez?
Osito Lopez isn't the bad one.
Ain't even gonna front on y'all. No joke. When I signed the fight, Julio Diaz Jr., it was told to me he's a 140 pounder. He was a 140 pound champion. He's coming up. I understood that he was the gatekeeper, but he did not portray that role. Yeah. You need a fighter who's going to get in the ring and not portray that role. Yeah. And I don't see any fighters out there who are going to get in the ring understanding that you're really not picked to win this fight, but you can make noise and you can do something against this kid. And if you believe it and use the things that you've done through your career, you might be able to win. So that's why I picked the Robert Easter.
Josecito's a good call, though.
Yeah. And Josecito. Yeah. You know?
He's been and I think there's a stigma almost with gatekeeper that people are like, oh, gatekeeper, you're kind of fading out. There's only a certain amount of world champions, and there's only a certain amount of world champion contenders. Yeah. And then there's gatekeepers.
There's like, everybody else.
Like it just kind of is what it is. And then even to kind of pivot away from Boots Ennis, but last night also you have Terrell Gaucher, who's kind of not in that role of a gatekeeper, but he's right there. Like he have 3 losses now?
At this 3 losses, I think at this point, there's really, I'm not a dream crusher. Yeah. But at this point.
Especially for a Cleveland guy.
Yeah, especially for a Cleveland guy. But
I'll crush his dreams.
Take a look at me having 3 losses, but knowing who I am as a fighter, every single fight.
Yeah.
I don't think no promoter is going to expect anything like that from Terrell Gosha, which means when they match him up, they're going to use him more so as the gatekeeper, as a guy who, you would build another fighter on.
And I think so he fought last night, for those that don't know, against Erickson Lubin.
Right.
And by all accounts,
terrible fight.
Yeah, I was going to say, by all accounts, not a very entertaining
snooze
fight.
fest.
I'm going to let y'all say
it was a snooze fest.
But I think for that, I think Terrell Gosha, I don't think he's somebody who is going to be scared of any of those fights. I think he's always going to be willing to get in there with the top guys.
Terrell?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
Which is an important thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Think once you get to this level, fear is gone, right?
To an extent,
it has
probably.
To be.
Depends.
Are you kidding?
Depends.
There's
Especially,
different kinds of fear,
again, we're talking about a guy who you get to the point where you're not expected to beat certain fighters. Then we all know it. You know what I mean? Like when you get matched and everybody's A side, B side, I don't give a damn about A side, B side. Yeah. But that's who I am.
Right.
There are guys who know that they're the B side and they portray the role of being a B side fighter. I don't think that Terrell Gosha would get in the ring and be afraid or have fear, things like that. But I don't think he's the type of fighter that a promoter would match him up with the expectancy of him actually pulling off an upset or so on and so forth. Let's go back to it though. Yeah. I said Robert Easter Jr. because he's not a gatekeeper. Yeah. He's gonna fight like he wants to win. He's gonna fight to become a champion. Yeah, he's a little light, but he's big. He's tall. Yeah. You know what I mean? He could easily fight at 147 if he chooses to. And again, when you've been in a couple of big fights and you're looking for a fight to get you over the top, it's like, yo, we got Jaron Ennis right here.
If I win.
Yeah. Robert Easter, this is a great fight for you. Title eliminator. You want it. Now we as boxing fans have a great fight on our hands because we have a young, up and coming fighter who is undefeated. And then you have another fighter who's been in some big fights, has been in that arena, knows what that feels like, and is itching to get back to the top. And I just got to go through this young beast right here. Yeah. So I like that.
Andre Berto, Shawn Porter.
No.
You wouldn't say that?
No.
In that fight?
No, hell no.
No.
Sean had been
I didn't give him
a title.
I didn't give him a chance in hell.
Yeah.
Who, Sean?
No, Berto.
Oh. I was like, man, I know we like to talk trash.
No. I ain't give Berto a chance in hell in that fight.
Yeah, I'm not sure the equivalence there. I would say maybe somebody like Robert Guerrero's kind of in that role. He's been in that role recently where he's fought some guys like that.
I wouldn't use... Okay, so Robert Guerrero would be the classic Julio Diaz, but I wouldn't use Robert Guerrero simply because he's just too far for me.
Yeah. That's fair.
And again, I think the boxing game, Lord willing, is changing. Yeah. Excuse me, to the point where these promoters don't want to use older fighters. Don't want to, quote unquote,
convince people to bring them back.
Yeah, build up the young guy. Yeah. Like use the young guy against another young guy. Yeah. But when the time is right.
For sure.
The only other young welterweight that I really like is Virgil Ortiz. Yeah. I really like Virgil Ortiz. It's too soon for Virgil Ortiz and Jaron Ennis, but that would be a great match. For sure. That's a great fight. Yeah. Especially if you talk. I don't want to see those guys fighting an eliminator to fight me or to fight, Errol Spence Jr. or one of the guys at the top. Yeah. I like to see both those guys go their own way,
and then
get a belt, and then clash.
Basically, get their time like you guys have your time.
Exactly. Because I was going to say, I don't know their ages off top, but I know they're close. Yeah. And you and Keith are similar ages. You and Danny are similar ages. Yeah. And you guys nobody went the same route. Yeah. There's mutual fighters, but you guys all kind of went your different ways. And then even going, again, back from welterweight back up to so Erickson Lubin is going, he went the route of he lost to Jermell Charlo. Right. He goes back.
Yeah, he had to start.
Start over. Yeah, essentially. And so now he beats Terrell Gosha, and so now he's the mandatory for the winner of Charlo Rosario.
I gotta ask this question, and I'm asking you first.
There you go.
So Erickson Lubin got knocked out crazy by Charlo. Comes back. Now he gets into the fight with Terrell Gosha. For the most part, he's handling it. Like y'all say, it was a lackadaisical type of night for that fight.
Yeah.
But then Terrell Gosha catches him in the 10th round.
Yeah.
And really wobbles him.
Yeah.
The question that I got for you first, Ant, is when Charlo knocked out Lubin, was that Charlo or was that Lubin? We know Lubin is chinny. We did not know that, but we know that now. He got touched by Terrell Gosha with a right hand, and he went wobbling.
Yeah.
Was Charlo's knockout, was that Charlo or was that Lubin?
You know what? We did, this is our second podcast, official. Charlo's went from my bottom 5 favorites to my top 2.
Dang, what?
Yeah, I don't know. Y'all did something to me. I don't know anyways. And
So what that mean?
What caused that? Or
Yeah, what does that mean?
I don't know. I've been giving him so much credit. I'm like, I really like this guy.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Charlo.
That was all Charlo.
Charlo.
Cause oh man, the punch. That's my thing. My thing was the punch. It was an uppercut that didn't finish. I couldn't really see what side, what part of the
But you know,
glove
every time he
touched him.
throws them.
Yeah.
He don't just, they're not jabbing.
Yeah.
They're not in the jabbing game.
Yeah.
They're trying to take your head off.
Yeah, so I don't want to take it from Charlo, but then after seeing Lubin get touched again last night, I'm like, well, wait a
Suspect
minute.
chin.
Yeah, because it was an early punch against Charlo, first round. It was an uppercut again. You didn't go through. It wasn't a punch that completed. You know what I mean? It was like, and he dropped down into it. So he added to the power. All there's a lot that goes into it.
And his reaction was like he got hit with something clean.
Yeah, and it also kind of just like you ended there. So you have everything adding into that equation. You have Charlo's power. You have the angle Charlo throws the punch from. The angle of Lubin
coming down.
going down.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And you have Lubin's chin. So I think to me it's probably a factor of all of them. But
at any rate, he's now the mandatory.
Do you want to be the mandatory though?
Yeah, if you're honestly, if you're Lubin, you do.
Do you though?
Yeah, if you're Lubin, you want to be the mandatory. You want to, prove, what happened the first time was a fluke. You are who we thought you were.
Hopefully he has the confidence. Like we don't have the confidence in him, but hopefully he got a chin transplant.
Yeah, I'm hoping that he, like you said, has the confidence and has made adjustments. But the reason I ask that is because when you've gone through a fight like that, and I would only want to say you went through a fight, you didn't even go through a full round.
That was a devastating knockout.
It was a huge knockout. Do you want that to be the guy? So you want to get a title back? Do you want it to be that guy?
I've never experienced a knockout, but I've talked to a lot of guys, and I've seen reactions, so on and so forth. When you get knocked out, it's kind of that. It's like that snap of the finger.
You've had your hand in the dirt.
Listen to me,
oh, man. Hey, I ain't trying to act like he never been down.
I'm just trying to. Let me do this.
Shout out to Adrian Broner.
It really is like a snap of a finger. It's like you're knocked out, so on and so forth. Once you recover, you got this burst of energy. Your energy goes from 0 to 100, and it's like, oh, I'm all right. I can do it. Let's do it now. Yeah. And it's like that. All you've trained for that whole 12 rounds was deflated in just 30 seconds or something crazy like that.
It's a couple minutes.
So as a fighter, you do one or two things. You either reflect on that and stay in that moment, or you move on from that moment and you want that moment back.
Yeah.
And you want to correct it. So I got a feeling he wants the mandatory, especially there's gonna be 3 belts after this fight, right?
Yeah.
So you want to be the mandatory for that.
And I don't know. You can know somebody on the outside and know somebody's kind of mental.
Yeah.
I don't know Erickson Lubin enough to know there's certain guys that want that smoke.
Yeah.
That they got beat by so-and-so and they're like, all right, that's the guy I want to fight because he caught me, whatever. Look at Charlo Harrison.
Yeah.
Charlo's and he immediately wants Harrison.
Charlo was livid.
He was not fighting anyone else.
Yep.
And you see that in boxing especially. So I don't know. Mm-hmm. I hope, personally, as just a boxing fan, I hope Erickson Lubin is that guy that's like, he beat me. I've improved. I've done A, B, and C. I'm ready for the second try.
And I'll tell you one thing, talking about last week from the Charlos, Lubin's not busy enough. Nope. He's not in there out. He don't make the Charlos think.
Nope.
He's standing right there.
Yep.
You can't do that with any Charlo.
Unless you're throwing bombs, and he's not throwing bombs, unfortunately.
Yeah, as I was watching the fight, that's all I was thinking was if this was Charlo. If this was Charlo. So it's just, I don't think my man got a chance. I mean, and no disrespect my boy Jason. He still got to fight.
For sure.
He has to take care of his business to get.
Sure.
But,
Hey,
yeah.
the fight I'm looking forward to the most this year.
Don't bring up Mike Tyson, Roy Jones.
Nah. Vasyl Lomachenko
Yeah.
versus Teofimo López. Teofimo López.
Teofimo is when you're fear missing out.
Excuse me, Teofimo López. He's smart.
Yeah, I was
just move past.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
I was
Cool.
going to rewind the tape.
That would actually
later.
be a cool nickname.
You should have seen my reaction. Like, you smart, Wade.
Teofimo
Hey, that
Lopez.
boy's
That's,
smart.
Yeah.
that's Teofimo. If he didn't get the fight, he would be missing out. He would be fear missing out.
I got you.
But yeah, Loma and
Winner.
I have Lomachenko. I think everything that we said about Boots Ennis, I would just translate that to Teofimo Lopez. He has no fear. Do you really want to fight Lomachenko? Like, there's not a lot of guys that are like,
We can't talk to you.
No,
This is the boxing game. We can't talk
I'm
to
saying,
you. We do.
No,
I do.
But I don't think a lot of people are like, oh,
I
yeah,
do.
I'd really love to get. Who was it? Was it Nicholas Walters that fought Lomachenko? And then he was in there for 3 rounds. It was like, I'm good.
Yeah,
my man Carson, like, nah, this people scared.
Yeah,
they don't really want it.
and
They
it's
just
not
fake it. They pump fake it for
and
TV.
it's not even scared. I'm not sure if you have multiple routes to take, if that's the route you take. But Teofimo Lopez he's ready to roll. I think I just don't.
He wants the belt. He wants the bag.
He wants to beat he wants to beat Lomachenko.
Carson,
He's a real fighter.
After one round, you'd use plan A, B, and C on him, and you're just like, is that how you feel?
I just Lomachenko. I can't imagine the frustration that would have to be going through your head as a fighter.
Yeah.
Because he's so damn good.
He's a technician.
He's a technician. He has enough power that he's not just a slick boxer where you're like, okay, he might, counterpunch here and move around a little bit. He can still tag you and hit you with some power shots.
A lot of people think that Lomachenko has met his match.
Do they think that?
A lot of people
I know
thought,
Dame does.
A lot of people thought Floyd met his match with Canelo too.
Yeah.
But that was a teaching lesson.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember that.
But then again, I don't know if it was just a lot of hate. A lot of people hated Floyd.
I'm looking forward to this match the most because of the style. Styles make fights.
Oh yeah.
This is what else could you look
And
for?
both styles.
Yeah.
I kind of
This is a dream matchup.
I can't like a piece of me feels this is a pick'em fight, but then the I guess the realistic side of me says you can't beat Lomachenko. You don't have enough experience. It doesn't matter how hungry and how fiery you are,
and how talented.
and how talented you are. Lomachenko is just in another class.
Yeah.
And I think, like you brought up before, he hasn't went through those moments that you said a boxer needs to go through. And
this is the one time that I'm not even gonna say one time, but this is one time that I feel I'm gonna contradict myself and say I don't think Lopez has to go through anything in the ring in order to be ready for Vasyl Lomachenko.
I'm not
the
sure.
reason
if there's
why I
something
say
to go
that
through to prepare you for Lomachenko. In all fairness,
the reason why I say that though is because some guys, your heart and your grit and where you come from and who you are really shows up not just through your talent, but your actual fight.
And you've sparred him.
I did one time. Yep.
Dad let me know at the gas station.
He said Shawn was getting touched up.
Good, and the dude was even back then was good.
Hey, we don't talk about sparring.
Who was that? Right. Who? I don't remember who it was. Who I sparred with him for. It might have been. I got a feeling it was.
Berto was my guess.
I don't think it was Berto. I think it was
Keith.
No, it wasn't Keith. I thought it was Keith, but it wasn't Keith. So it had to have been Berto.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
No,
though.
Somebody smoother than that though. I don't remember.
Shout to Berto.
Wherever the case may be,
Shout to Berto.
whatever the case may be, and you going with
Lomachenko.
Oh, you going with Lomachenko?
No doubt about it.
No doubt about it.
I actually am gonna agree with you. There is very little doubt.
No doubt.
And that's not to again. Teofimo Lopez is gonna be a monster for the next decade.
Yeah.
2 decades if he wants to.
Yeah.
But right now,
he ain't no monster.
That's just.
And that probably is where I'm stuck at too, because I have that underdog mentality, and so because even me, when I size it all up, I say Lomachenko wins. I'm looking at him like, okay, you're the underdog. I want you to win, you know. So there's definitely a piece of me that wants to see Lopez do this, and there's some bad blood there.
Lomachenko doesn't usually have that specifically.
Yeah. So that
imagine,
adds. I think it works for him. Yeah. I got a feeling it's gonna work for him.
He is one of the more fun fighters to watch. Just if you're a fan of boxing, even if you're not a fan of boxing and you want to see what boxing should be, he's everything.
I'm not mad at you for saying that. I agree 100%. I think that he displays everything that what we talk about being the sweet science. I think that you see that in every single fight that he's had. You see him display the sweet science. And coming from the Ukraine and his dad, they've been able to just do something really special together. And I would love to see what their training regimen is like and what it's been like through the years.
I can't even imagine.
Because there's something special with them, and specifically with Vasyl every single time he gets in the ring. And it's been like that since he was an amateur, Olympian, turning pro, first title fight and his third fight. And then now just the consistency that he's shown. I really would love to see what his training is like.
And you talk about the sweet science. You go down the list of like punch angles, combinations,
the whole list,
footwork.
Like,
he checks every single speed, power. He checks every single box.
I gotta say this, and then we gonna move forward.
He's special.
Can he dress well though? How's his fashion?
I don't know. He's
basic. That might be the only thing. That might be
his weakness.
Can we find a criticism?
Which brings me to this. I saw a video where Teofimo said there's 3 or 4 ways to beat Lomachenko, and then he says, but I can't say.
I mean,
I'll be damned.
I laughed.
Yeah.
I don't think it's 3 or 4 ways. You know what I mean?
I'm not sure if there is a way to beat Lomachenko.
You're putting a lot on it.
He's so damn good.
He's good.
And it's different.
He's good.
He's impressive.
It's different if Teofimo López was as talented as he is and had been through some of those fights where he wasn't expected to win and wasn't, that much better than a lot of his opponents. When you're getting in there with Lomachenko, you got to be a lot more than a super talented fighter, which Teofimo is.
Yeah.
Lomachenko, that's a different animal.
I said that was the last thing, but I got one more thing.
Okay.
Andre Ward retired as undefeated champion. He had not lost a fight since he was about 11 as an amateur.
He lost in Creed, but go ahead.
All that time, and I think we're gonna see that again. Obviously, Lomachenko lost. I think it was his 3rd fight.
Yeah.
But outside of that, a fighter who can make an adjustment in every single fight, be close to flawless, fight in and fight out, it's very rare. I mean, we've even seen Mayweather he's gone through a couple of storms, and not to say that Andre Ward didn't go through any storms, but the way he weathered his storms, I mean, his ship came through and his ship didn't have any scars on it. You know what I mean? So I really do think we're going to see that. I didn't think we would see that age again, but I think we see it right here with Vasyl Lomachenko. I'm sure you're probably going to agree with that.
That's actually a really good. They're so far off weight-wise and division-wise. They're actually very good comparisons for one another.
Yeah.
Based on just the overall scope of their skills and very likable guys. You don't find a lot of people that dislike Andre Ward.
Yep.
Don't find very many people except Teofimo López that dislike Lomachenko.
Yep.
So, that's a good call out.
Here we go.
Okay.
Errol Spence Jr. versus Danny Garcia. And who you got?
Early stoppage. I'm going Danny Garcia with the knockout.
Why you gotta lean into? He leaned into it with the knockout.
Nah. So
talk about it, man. Talk about it.
All right. I rewatched the.
How did you say early knockout?
He said early.
He said early.
Yeah, I'm a man. I'll say it early. if I'm Danny, I go in. I try to test him immediately. You gotta see what he got. And really, I hate to say it, man, that's about your only chance of winning. But I'm gonna give it to you that you got a chance. That you highly favored at that. But besides that, I think he can outbox you. He's longer. He can stay on his back foot. He fight off his back foot.
Who you talking about?
This all Earl. I'm talking about
Okay,
Earl.
Earl
Come on,
Earl
you know
can
Danny can't do this.
Well, say it.
You know, Danny, you know you can't do this.
They don't.
They know.
Oh, they know Danny can't do that. They know Danny can't do that.
Ah.
You know Danny can't do that. He over here. Oh.
Hey, listen. I do give Danny Garcia a chance. A lot of people don't give
course.
Danny Garcia a chance. I give Danny Garcia a chance actually based on exactly what you said. You got to come out and not allow Errol Spence to get comfortable.
Yeah.
Now, there's been 100 questions that's been thrown at Errol Spence Jr., and everybody is waiting on that first bell to ring. You can't tell me as a fighter that none of those questions are running through your mind as you warm up for the fight, as you walk out to the ring, as you stand in the middle of the ring and touch gloves, and as you wait on that first bell to ring.
Yeah.
With all that going on Errol Spence's side, the only thing that needs to be going on Danny Garcia's side is touch him with the jab, make him know that you there to fight him, and try to hit him quick.
If this the Shawn Porter Earl, or he's recovering, he hasn't recovered from the accident, you still got the same game plan.
Yeah.
That changes you
Yeah,
none.
yeah.
That changes he should be the last one worried about this on the
I mean, I am who I am, so I went at Errol the way I went at Errol.
I know.
You saying that should be his game plan no matter what?
No. He can't do what you do. I'm saying that's the last Earl we've seen. We know Earl's elite.
Mm-hmm.
Even if that's the Earl that comes into the ring, or if the Earl has taken a back step from the car accident.
Oh, I got
Danny
you.
needs to
got you.
Yeah. No matter what, that's his game plan.
I agree.
Because you don't have the footwork to keep up with Earl.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have. I don't think you can just sit there and trade with Earl.
Mm-hmm.
So you just gotta.
If I'm Danny Garcia, I'm not playing any mind games with myself.
Nope.
I'm telling myself that Errol Spence Jr. is 100%, and the only thing I need to do is let him know that 100% is not enough tonight.
Yep,
and the only way you do that is by going out there, throwing the jab off the rip, and throwing the 1-2s off the rip, and trying to land something and not allow Errol Spence Jr.
You let Earl get comfortable, it's gonna be a long night for you.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, but you gotta stay on him. Stay on him.
So you said you watched Errol Spence Jr. You replayed Errol Spence Jr. versus Mikey Garcia.
And I just
You might
Just
be the
last
only-
night?
You might be the only person that's.
Did
ever
you
done
watch?
that, by
Did
the
you
way.
watch every round?
Hell
How far in did you go?
6.
6. I'm trying to validate my man. He does his research. You know what I mean? He's a fight fan that, and you did this for me. You had never heard of Sebastian Formella, but you was trying to find film.
Any holes?
You was trying to find film to send to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then at the end of it, you really ain't find nothing. You was like, hey, you
Sorry,
owing.
I got nothing
You
for you.
owing. He said you 0-3 in your last undefeated fights. You need to go out there and do something. That's what he said, something like that. You 0-3 in your last 3 undefeated fights.
Every Shawn fight, I try to find little holes, send him little things. I had nothing. I had to come up with a motivational speech. No disrespect to my boy.
Yeah,
Formella.
yeah. You said you had nothing. He's like, hey, he said you owe. I was like, I looked at, I was like, are these numbers right? I said, yeah,
They was
I
right.
It got me because I was like, yeah, I have to do something about this. I was like, he's not. It's done tonight. I was like, it's done tonight. But damn, these numbers are real.
So Ant's going early stoppage for Danny. I think Errol washes him.
Woo!
And like you said, I think Danny Garcia, for people that say Danny Garcia doesn't have a chance, is just kind of silly.
You're never gonna be able to go back to Philly.
I've never been to Philly, and I got Hank Lundy's got me covered out there. But
Shout out to Hank.
Yeah, shout out to Hank. But to say that he doesn't have a chance is stupid.
I agree.
But I
agree.
think Errol
It's people
is,
that say like that.
And
Danny doesn't have a chance?
Yeah.
Oh,
And we
you're
talked about that last week, where if it's elite fighter versus elite fighter, they have a chance. It's just silly to say they don't. But if you look at Errol, I just think even an 80% Errol, I think beats Danny comfortably. Errol is so damn good, and we go back to being just well-rounded. Errol has great footwork. He's an athletic dude. He's got power. He's got speed, arm angles. He can do all of that. And I just think even if he's not 100%, I just don't see Danny. You can go into it with that mindset of I need to connect. I need to make him respect the power. I need to see how he reacts to the power. saying that is very different than doing that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So Danny Garcia, he's been in great fights. He's beat great fighters, but he's always the same thing. He is who he is. Danny Garcia doesn't have – Errol can be a chameleon. You talked about watching the Mikey fight. Errol fought from the outside. He just – the whole night, just outboxed them. I don't know how you went back and watched that. The fight was immensely boring, but it was a boxing clinic from Errol Spence. Go to the Errol Spence fight versus Shawn Porter, Kell Brook. He's adjusted.
That's three different Errols.
3 different Errol Spences. He can do so many different things that I think if Danny can't do that one specific thing that Danny Garcia can do, I just think Errol's got too many answers to that question.
What he does, he's going to have to do it at an A+ all night.
Danny Garcia will have to have his best fight ever to be Errol, in my opinion.
Is Errol Spence Jr. healthy?
Well, let's not even say
healthy.
that. Let's not even say that because we don't know. So
Nobody
let's go off
knows.
the same.
I'm
the
not sure
last
if Errol
Errol
knows.
The last Errol.
That's all you can do.
Yeah,
that's all you can do.
Because we all been doing it.
Yeah.
But you also it would be silly to say, oh, well, it's the Errol that fought Shawn, because it's not. Errol had a traumatic car accident, has fake teeth, and all kinds of stuff. So
got redone.
And you got big teeth. He's got fake teeth. But you could have donated some of your teeth to him. But
Absolutely not.
I just feel like with Errol, I don't think we know if he's healthy. I'm not sure if Derek James knows if he's healthy. I'm not sure if Errol knows that he's healthy.
No. Because here's the bottom line. The bottom line is, as much as his family loves the sport, they love him more than they love the sport. And they truly, the family loves boxing. Yeah. True boxing family.
This is Errol's family.
Yes. Errol Spence's family.
Yeah.
True boxing family. They don't want to see him do anything else but be a champion and continue to fight. But if the doctors told the family that him boxing was not in his best interest, they wouldn't allow him to do it. And if they had any doubts at all, coming from the doctors to the family to Errol, if there was any doubts at all, he wouldn't be getting back in the ring. I'm positive that the doctors told him, this is when you can fight. And that's why the fight's been scheduled for October. And they told him, this is when you can train. I'm sure he probably started training a lot sooner. We can't sit down. We can't not be ready. We can't not do what needs to be done. Y'all love all them double negatives. If not, I don't give a damn. But that's what is going on down there in Texas. So I know that he's healthy enough to fight.
That's what I was gonna say. I think the qualifier is there's levels to health from. Personally, I don't think Errol is not physically and medically fit to fight. I don't think that's in question. Mm-hmm. Like you said, I think his family, I think we talked about last week, I think Derek James is close enough to him where if he's not good to go, Derek James isn't signing off on that. Mm-hmm. I think there's a difference between being medically able and being permitted to fight and being healthy and maybe having a little bit of a not softer jaw. You know how it all works, but just not being yourself health-wise. I think there's just different things. He might be maybe more, rigid because of the accident or again,
they call it, I think you're trying to describe what we call gun shy, which
a bit. I guess I just think there's differences between I'm not sure if he's healthy enough to get in the ring, and I'm not sure if he's as healthy as he physically can be, physically fit-wise, to fight at a world-class and world title level. So I'm just not sure where exactly he's at with that. But no, it should be good. I think it's going to be an exciting fight either way. I just don't think Danny has a plan B, C, or D to negate what Errol will be able to do.
And even if his family, doctors, everybody signed off on it, kind of like what Carson was saying, he won't know until, like what you say, it gets... He's in that corner. He's taking shots from Danny. Yeah. He's covered up. He gets hit with something solid. Yeah. Once he goes through that, he'll be like, okay. Yeah. All right, here I come.
Yeah. Because you gotta wonder. I think I would be that way even if I lost these 2 front teeth. I think I would be that way where if we're in the action, I'm doing what I can to make you not touch the front of my face. Now I'm moving differently simply because I don't want you to hit me in the mouth.
Game winner from Anthony Davis, by the way. Was my reaction, not your teeth.
Okay, I was like,
Sean,
this boy wild over
look
here.
at my professionalism. I kept it cool.
You did.
I kept it cool.
I swear, I said we turning the TV off when we get started.
Because of me.
yourself,
Because of me. I'm the troublemaker.
But but even to go with what you were saying and what Ant said previously, it could almost go the other direction. If Errol feels Danny's power early, he might be like, I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to speak for either of you, 100% a Shawn Porter versus Errol Spence, that Errol Spence smokes Danny Garcia.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I don't think that one is even more lopsided.
I don't even like the word smokes.
That's fine, but I think it's lopsided that way. I think there's...
It would have been...
60-40
yeah. Dominant. It would have been a dominant performance.
So I think if you get in, if Errol gets in there...
He would have won a unanimous decision.
Yeah, he would have washed him. But I think if Errol gets in there and feels Danny's power, because he is going to have questions. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. And I think if he feels that power and he's like, okay, I'm fine. I'm my normal self. And
Danny's taking some punches himself.
For sure.
Oh, yeah. Danny can take them, too.
He's taking some punches
for sure.
Himself. So
yeah.
I just think that it all depends on Errol.
For sure. I think that's absolutely the correct way to look at it.
I think what we're talking about Danny should not do, but I think he's going to allow Errol to dictate the pace, which does not work in his advantage.
He lets everybody do that.
Is there, to counter that, can Danny ever dictate the pace? That's not a slight to Danny. Can his style dictate the pace?
Absolutely. Because let me tell you, you're talking about being a chameleon. It doesn't take much to use more jabs. You don't have to be a chameleon to use more jabs. It doesn't take you being a chameleon to be a little more aggressive than you've been in the past. Yeah. Those are things that those are just conscious decisions,
But he hasn't made them though.
But he hasn't made them. But he's never been in this position. This is a make or break 'em fight for him.
And I know he said he's in the best mind state that he's been in.
I heard that
camp wise and everything, which is good. But I'm just not sure if he can dictate the pace of a fight, and if he has the ability to do what you're saying, be a little more aggressive, fight a little more on the front foot, put the pressure on Errol. I'm just not sure if that's in his arsenal because I've never seen
those are things that are conscious decisions to do those things.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, it doesn't take much to throw a double jab opposed to one jab.
Yeah,
it doesn't take much for you a real boxer to throw a double jab and see what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
that's a part of boxing
for sure.
That's the art. That's the science. Is to throw a double to see what your guy's gonna do, and then now I know. Okay. This was his adjustment to my double. Now this is his adjustment to a 1-2, and so on and so forth. But there's a building process, and that's a process that we have not seen from Danny. But I'm telling you, it doesn't take much for him to do that.
And hopefully learn from the 2 losses to Porter and Thurman.
I mean, I think if anything, that's what can be said about for both fights. Is you started slow, you did not maintain pace that could keep up with your opposition, and you did not finish the exchanges. You got to be able to finish the exchanges with Errol.
And honestly, with the welterweights, you and Thurman's the more
active.
Yeah, you're gonna be going. Earl's not to that stage, but Earl's long enough we can keep him on this jab.
I guess personally, I'm one where if you haven't, Danny's fought for how long?
Yeah.
If you haven't shown that at this point, I can't just. It's like they always say, like in basketball, like Michael Jordan. Oh, if he played now, he would be able to shoot threes.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see it. So if I've never seen it, how can I?
I have to disagree with you on that because this guy has changed over the last 5-6 fights.
I think Shawn has changed, but Shawn at his core is still Shawn. And I think if you go to like the Devin fight and then you go to like the Broner fight, they're different versions of you, but it's still you.
Still me.
And at different points you've shown that ability. I don't think Danny has ever shown that ability.
Even with the Thurman fight to the Earl fight, there's a different Shawn. He's smothering all his shots.
Yeah.
All night long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think
conscious,
Shawn.
I'm telling you, man, like boxing is so much more mental than most guys understand and fans understand, but it all starts at the gym.
For sure.
I mean, it sounds so cliche, but it really does. It all starts with your training and your preparation. But along your training, your preparation, if you, like I do, I self-assess myself all the time. You talk about me smothering my shots against Keith Thurman. You didn't see it as much against Errol Spence Jr. And the points where I know now, those points where I was up against Errol, I specifically wanted to be up against Errol so that he couldn't hit me back, so that he couldn't move. You know, certain reasons. Where Keith, it was like, I got to get him, you know? And so I found myself in positions that I didn't really want to be in. But in training in camp is the preparation and self-assessment of, hey, man, I'm smothering my shots too much. Let me start to change that. It's a conscious decision for you to start to change certain things and become a better rounded fighter and a more complete fighter in the ring, especially against styles make fights. Against certain fighters, you just have to do certain things. And I think against Errol Spence Jr., I'm not saying be Shawn Porter aggressive. I'm saying let it be known that I'm in this ring. Let it be known I'm Danny Garcia. You know my name.
More aggressive Danny Garcia.
I'm about to show you why you know my name.
Yeah.
And if Danny doesn't do that, Angel will slap the shit out of him.
Man,
that's also true. And Danny,
he did not help him at all in that fight.
In
You
your
got
fight?
it. You got it. Yes. I
told me to slap
if
shit out of him.
he said
I
if
pray
you
to
don't throw an
God that they
overhand
see
right,
this because.
I'll hit you with overhand right.
Hey, yeah, that's what it was.
But I pray to God that they see this. You as anybody. I'm
That's
not
not
even, I'm
not
not
an
even just
answer.
talking to Danny now. I'm not
No.
even just talking to Danny and his dad now. Any coach, you have to be able to help your fighter. Your job as a coach is to help your fighter.
Not threaten him.
You don't help your fighter by threatening him, by telling him round by round, this is what you're not doing. This is what you're not doing. Tell your fighter what adjustments he needs to make. Tell your fighter what you're seeing that he's not seeing, and tell him how to see what you're seeing and do what you see that he should do.
Yeah.
Angel did not help Danny Garcia at all in that fight. When I fought, I knew I won the fight. When before my hand got raised, like unbelievable feeling, but I knew my hand was gonna get raised. When I go back and watch the fight and I see how he's talking to his fighter, I'm taking that out that you're his son. See the way he's talking to his fighter. I watched that and I literally was like, damn, he didn't help Danny at all. There was no way I was gonna lose this fight. Yeah. Even if I started doing things wrong, he took his fighter out of it from a mental standpoint.
They got a game plan and they're sticking to it.
And there was no way that I was gonna lose that fight.
And hopefully with Danny saying that he's having the best camp and he's having, mental state, whatever it is, hopefully that factors into it. Hopefully that means him and Angel have come up with a system that works for him, and I think we all
I can speak to that because my dad and I have been through that where bad things have gone on in our lives, and we both made again I keep using the word conscious, but we both came together, we talked about it, we talked it out. This is how we need to be moving forward. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. A lot of huffing and puffing and back and forth, and it doesn't matter. Your relationship with your father is your relationship with your father, coach, fighter, athlete to coach, whatever it is. But at some point, when things have gone awry, they've gone astray, things aren't clicking the way they used to or the way you want them to, you got to come together. And usually it does take something bad happening in order for you to start to get some things right. So I'm assuming, and I'm hopefully right in assuming that his changes and the best camp of his life are conscious decisions that he and his dad have made along the way. Like, hey, we are here to be champions, and we're gonna get it right. You know what I'm saying? So
hopefully with Danny, he has kind of one of the knocks on you is when Shawn Porter fights these guys, he loses. Errol, Keith, Kell Brook. Hopefully with Danny, and he's beat some of those top guys, and you've also beat him as well. But hopefully Danny is kind of in that similar place where it's like, okay, I lost to Shawn Porter. Okay, I lost to Keith Thurman. Let's look at those. Yeah. Why did I lose? Yeah. And what can I add to my arsenal? Yeah. Again, I haven't seen it, so I'm not going to be like, oh, yeah, I think Danny could be more aggressive and fight on his front foot.
And that's the one thing that I know being a fighter is when you go back and watch a fight, I have a photographic memory, so I can remember a lot of even now, I can remember a lot of moments in fights. But I'm like this, and I think a lot of fighters are like this. When you go back and watch a fight, and there's an exchange, there's a combination that you threw, I can go back in my mind and remember what I was thinking or what I was seeing or what I was feeling at that certain point in the fight. So when you talk about styles making fights, no, Shawn Porter does not fight like Keith Thurman. So how can Danny Garcia get better from watching those fights, getting in the ring with somebody that doesn't fight like either of those guys? Yeah. Well, when you're able to really go back and realize where you were in your state of mind at those certain points that you may have made a mistake, could have done something differently, that's how you become a better fighter. Yeah. But it's all up to the fighters, all up to the team to do certain things like that. I'm just different. You know what I mean? So when it comes to me and correcting myself, when it comes to my team, my dad especially, and getting stuff right, my dad don't even want me to leave the gym sometimes till I get it right. And I look at him, I'm like, that's not realistic. But then when I look at myself, I understand, like, in order for you to become better, you have to have yourself in that mentality where, yeah, I've been at the gym for 2 hours, but today it's gonna be 2.5, or today it's gonna be 3. And I got a feeling that Danny's been there. Yeah. I got a feeling this is gonna be a much better fight than most people think it's gonna be.
And honestly, Errol
much more competitive than people think.
Errol, I think, to an extent, he specializes in that. He hears the criticisms and he looks at his performances. Yeah. He heard people saying you cannot box Mikey Garcia. Mm-hmm. Yeah, box Mikey Garcia. Mm-hmm. He heard, you can't brawl Shawn Porter. He's the toughest, most physical fighter. He was like, okay, let's do that. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you dictate that as well. Mikey Garcia dictates it to his extent, but I think Errol is a good example of that as well. But obviously, the elite fighters have shown an ability to adjust. I just would like to see Danny add just another weapon to the arsenal.
I would love to see that too, because then you have something special in the night. And I think that in the past, when we've seen special nights, it's because somebody did something that you didn't expect,
keep raising the level,
or the level just continued to raise through the night of the fight. And I think that I don't know if Danny's gonna do anything different. Yeah. Again, when I listen to myself speak and I say all those different things that they should hopefully have changed through training and through their relationship and things like that, it gives me hope. It gives me the optimism that I have as a Browns fan. Yeah. It appears to in my mind
15-1 on the way
as a fight fan and wanting wanting to
what?
Yes, sir.
Let's keep it pushing
and wanting to see Danny Garcia be something different in the night against Errol Spence Jr. I'm picking Errol Spence Jr. to win the fight.
I mean, you guys are right now kind of like a round robin, I would say. Yeah. Danny can't go down 0-3.
No.
He can't do it right now.
I think right here, I think he can't go down 0-3 from a mental perspective.
And maybe that, and maybe like Ant said, maybe that is the biggest, not motivator, but maybe that's the biggest boost to Danny. Is that mental thing of being down, we'll say being down 0-2 like that. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's what he's like, I can't go down 0-3. Mm-hmm. I need to, maybe, I lose the Keith, whatever, first loss happens. Yeah. Maybe now he's like, all right, I have 2 losses now. If I get 3, the shine starts to fade a little bit. Maybe that's what motivates him.
And we don't ignore that. You know what I mean? We don't, as fighters, we don't ignore where we're at and where we want to go. And the understanding of if certain things don't happen the way that we want them or need them to, then we won't go where we need to go. So I do think that that's on his shoulders as well. I think that Danny Garcia understanding that I can't go down 0-3. I have to show everybody that I can fight with the elite. I have to show everybody that what they saw at 140 and what they saw when I first moved to 147, I'm still that guy, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I get energy from hearing myself say it, and I hope that he's giving himself that kind of energy, thinking about it and preparing for it, because that's a big night for him. That's a big night for boxing.
Big night for
sports.
It's
a big night for Errol Spence Jr. as well, you know what I mean? So,
yeah, I hope from a neutral standpoint, I hope Errol comes in healthy at his best. I hope Danny elevates his level. I hope it's just styles make fights, and that's just a great fight. But I think Errol wins comfortably, and personally, I prefer Errol. So,
I'm going Danny, and I don't even prefer Danny.
All right, y'all. So we just broke down a lot of the big fights coming up, but along the way, we got action after action after action. So I think we kept it a little bit more broad in the sense of talking about a lot of different fighters and a lot of different fights. But as we move forward, we'll start to break down specifically the fights that we've seen in the previous weeks, which is why we're going to start filming on Sundays so that we can be able to break down what y'all saw on Saturday, what y'all saw on Friday night. I know Fox they're going to do some Wednesday night fights, all that kind of stuff. So y'all continue to stay locked into us. It's going to get more fun, more exciting. This is the Porter way. I don't know what they doing, but this is how it gets down.
Hey,
so,
we fresh. We fresh, baby.
And my feet are feeling cool.
Hey, we fresh, baby.
We had a conversation. We're going to have some more, but I'm going to get these boys right. They need my Taylor. Malcolm, holla at you.
There is no chance you will ever see us wearing anything like that.
I'll get clean on them real quick. I'll get clean on them real quick.
I'm gonna get a shot.
Hey,
we gonna
I'll
throw
get
up.
clean on them real quick.
Cause you got clean a couple times. I was like,
I'm not coming here dressed like Jiminy Cricket.
I don't think you will ever. I don't think I'll ever see you in a tailor-made suit.
No.
I wouldn't spend a couple dollars.
He would do it if I spent it. He would do it if I spent the money, but he wouldn't.
I was about to say if he gonna get it, I'll go half with you.
You want? All right.
You want to get a suit?
No.
Come on, let's give him a suit.
That's what's happening.
We getting this man a suit.
We getting him a suit.
Bamboo suit.
And if you're not doing nothing Saturday, pull up at Shawn Porter's. I'll be at the gate. Call the guard. I'll let you in.
Don't call the gate. I almost didn't let you in last. I say, yo, we canceled the film. Tell me to go home.
Stop messing with that dude. There's a long line out there. Hey, shout out to that dude. He say he gonna listen to the podcast.
Take care, y'all. God bless.
With the rollie on, Tom Ford with it. Praise the Lord for